Hello, good day and welcome to this session on transportation decision making. By the end of this session, you should be able to explain transportation decision making, the basics of transportation decision making, identify the challenges of transportation decision making, as well as provide ways of overcoming the challenges of transportation decision making. So when we come to transportation decision making, it is quite obvious that organizations invest a lot of resources into how feasible they can move goods from one point to another, even though some of these decisions are not obvious and some of these decisions are not made public. Because they are not made public, we begin to think that organizations do not really consider investments into their transportation decisions, but it is key that organizations consider how they can adopt the most optimum transportation modes to move their goods from one point to another, thereby considering its impact currently and then in the future, as well as the impact on the health, infrastructure, and the general public in a given community in which they operate. So we realize that organizations are exposed to different kinds of transportation modes that they can use to move their goods from one point to another. And it should be noted that organizations don't just get up and then decide on a given transportation mode. They consider the impact of that transportation mode, or they consider the impact of their transportation choices on several factors before making or finally making a choice of a particular transportation mode. And it should be noted that this decision making is done by giving considerations to both current as well as future needs of the society, as well as everybody and every infrastructure involved in transportation. So it should be noted that the transportation decision making process is faced with a lot of challenges. For instance, if you take the human aspect, the human aspect presents several challenges in terms of the transportation operators, in terms of the people in society, in terms of the regulators, among others. So transportation modes require investment into research and development to know what people are aware of, what people are expecting, and the impact of a given transportation decision or a given transportation mode selection on the health and safety of people in a given society. And doing this requires heavy investment in technology, as research and development does not occur in a vacuum but occurs effectively when there is a heavy investment in the required technology for that activity. Then another challenge is the organizational, in the sense that, for instance, if you are using a third-party logistics service to move your goods from one point to another, there is little influence in decision making. You are not able to know, or you are not able to have an upper hand in deciding the optimum transportation route, because obviously the third-party logistics company, who is the expert, would know the optimal route to use in moving an item from one point to another. However, the organization who has contracted this third-party logistics company might also want to use a more cost-effective way, which may not be as optimum as what the third-party logistics company has decided on. So this is quite a challenge at the organizational level. And also at the organizational level, the use of data is also key. It's also a challenge because data is usually not available to organizations for them to make high-level decisions. So there is a need for heavy investment in organizational infrastructure, organizational services, so as to make proper optimal decisions in terms of transportation. Then the next one is the infrastructure. So obviously transportation decisions require information. It requires data to make valuable decisions. And sometimes these RFIDs these technological tools may not be available to an organization, and it's also a challenge in making transportation decisions, because if you have RFID, for instance, if you have other trackable devices, it will enable you to monitor the progress of your transportation decisions. But if you have no, like, if those resources are not available to you, if you don't have those infrastructure, it will make transportation decisions quite a problem to the organization. And some of the challenges that have been considered could be overcome by understanding performance and control in the various transportation domains, as well as the relationships between them, so that you don't consider them in isolation. You realize that they are interrelated, and you realize, or you find ways of managing the shortfalls in each of them, so that they can give you the best outcome you require. Then the second way of overcoming transportation decision-making challenges is examination of appropriate human factors to understand the domain and potential representations of user source data to a decision maker. So some of these methods, critical incidence methods as well as cognitive work analysis, are available to provide optimum ways of putting into perspective the various transportation domains that exist and how they can be utilized for transportation. Then the next one is a set of use cases for user source data in transport control, which at least one use case can be used as a demonstrator when taken forward. So this is also another means of managing the challenges that come with transportation decision making.